Hey guys, Redrix here. Before anything, I just want to say I'm a really big liar. First off, with, of course, trying to get all the videos coming back. I know I said previously that I was going to get a lot of videos in October, but there was some things that went on, and with Destiny kind of being in a sort of weird area, I was just unsure really what to cover. I do think once season 23, the last quote unquote season, if you will, because we have the episodes in after the final shape, I think right around like the end of November, I'm really going to get back into the flow of things. I still want to pop up a lot more videos. I still have some stuff planned, but again, you're going to occasionally maybe see like a couple videos there and there. But believe me when I say, I hope for sure once all this stuff is done with me, of course, applying for college and everything, I will have a lot more time to get more videos for you guys. So, other than that, I hope you guys do enjoy this one. This video is going to really cover this leak that has been getting some attention. Some are saying it's kind of real, some are saying it's fake, some are saying it's too early to tell. So again, it's in the unsure category right now, but I wanted to cover it. So this leak really goes into the Final Shape raid, a lot more details on there, some on the Echoes release and the story, as well as a subclass. I know I talked to you guys about possibility of having another Darkness subclass, and I haven't yet did anything in the last couple of weeks because obviously, one, I didn't want to make 80 videos on it, but two, I wanted to just make sure if there is a very credible leak out there that says there isn't one, I was going to, of course, be cautious about it. But we're going to take a look in today's video. If you don't mind subscribing us, we were trying to get to 30K. That would mean a lot. Please be sure to share this video with more people who love Destiny. Now let's get right into the nitty-gritty. Now, with this leak, of course, this leak is going to be a very interesting one. Obviously, like I said before, it's still very unsure if it's going to be real or not. It came out a couple weeks ago, but here are some things. So, of course, this leak is going to follow stuff on the Sandbox story and raid of the Final Shape, as well as beyond in the Echoes episode. If you don't know, after Final Shape releases, there will be 3 other releases that are going to be considered episodes, which are just like sort of those, longer seasons. There won't be 4 seasons a year. There will be 3 episodes. We're unsure if it's going to continue after the final, after these 3 releases into 2025. Again, too much stuff right now to think about, but let's get right into it. So apparently there will be, of course, we know new light sub supers in the Final Shape, but apparently this leak says that it will be pained balanced, but we believe players will be able to have fun with the new supers without them ruining PvP or making the Legend campaign too easy. The Subjugators enemies are interested in the fight as they require players to play close. They stay at the back of the groups of enemies. So this is interesting, obviously, because you guys know we had Tormentors in Lightfall, we had Hive Guardians. This is going to be cool because, obviously, Subjugator seems to be more actually pushing for even a stronger enemy, subtype. So I'm very curious to see how Subjugators work. I think Tormentors were really cool. They can be very strong, though, in hard, endgame activities. But again, Subjugator seems to be being the next, big enemy that we're going to fight in the campaign. So I'm very interested of how that's going to play out. In terms of the supers, I think Bungie is going to make us have a lot of fun with them because I feel like there will be a lot of customization with having maybe even 2 or 3 more aspects with that said subclass for each class. So it's going to be really cool. So let's go into the Final Shape raid. So right now it's looking like, again, it's too hard to tell, but there is 5 encounters in 2 platforming sections. I said a while ago that it looks like to be 4 encounters in 2 platforming sections. I know Bungie has said that they're really planning on making this raid, even besides everything, a really awesome raid experience. After the Root of Nightmares, let's just say, didn't perform so well, Crotazen, I think, performed really well, and I know they're putting a lot of attention into this raid because obviously it's the last raid in the Light and Dark Saga, so it looking like maybe a bigger raid than we're maybe used to. So maybe it's a little bit bigger, but again, too close to tell. So the first encounter is about dunking relics into darkness to put enough dark power into the door to open it. Think of totems from Kingsfall. Obviously, the first encounter is going to be something simple, I would expect. So this is not too far off if it is true. A door leads directly into the second encounter. The second encounter is phase 1 of the Witness, where you have to use the darkened relics to destroy certain parts of his shield and then dunk them in light to destroy other parts. After this, the Witness transformed into a centipede-like creature. The arms in the Final Shape reveal trailer and runs away. This leads into the first platforming section where you are jumping on the Witness's hands as you move to the next location. Now, before I continue further, I'm thinking this is really cool because obviously we saw it in the reveal trailer that the Witness sort of had these like arm sort of figures and they were like pulling at us. So to see all this, it looks really cool. Obviously, the raid is probably going to be based around different phases of the Witness being the biggest boss in the Light and Dark saga. I think Bungie and the leaks that we have gotten over the last couple of months saying that the Witness will have different phases is going to be something I think Bungie will focus on. Again, we can only speculate right now, but looking at it from that realistic picture, the Witness is the biggest bad ever. I don't think they're going to clear it out in one phase of the boss. And remember, the Witness I don't necessarily think will die in the raid, because the 8th mission, the final mission of the campaign, will release after the first completion of the raid. So it's looking like we're going to push him back, maybe weaken him significantly, and then the final mission of the campaign that will be unlocked to us will actually kill the Witness. So it's something interesting I definitely see. The third encounter takes place on the Centipede Witness's back, shooting into cracks to deal damage and open up inside the Witness's cloak of darkness. Within the cloak, there's a white orb that must be damaged in order to end the encounter, damaging the orb enough to make the Witness crash into a nearby mountain, setting the area for the last 2 encounters. The fourth encounter starts with the Witness unconscious in the mountain. Players must summon relics and dunk them in light and dark to keep chipping away at the Witness's shield. After the encounter, the Witness wakes up and transports back into its humanoid form. It backs away into the sky and tells us that this is the final battle. The fifth encounter, you use darkness relics to create platforms to reach the Witness and light relics to break his shield. The damaged boss phase happens in the sky once his shield is broken. So really setting the stage of this, I feel like the Witness, of course, being the, being that sort of uses darkness like a cloak, and we obviously have darkness subclasses now, I think we're going to really heavily use dark and light in this raid. I don't think it's just going to be like, oh yeah, we use our light abilities, and of course it's been saying relics, but I think they're going to focus on that we have to both use light and dark, like that sort of final shaped piece of both using these like 2 forms of paracausal power to, end this being. I don't think it's just going to be one and done type deal, so that's what I find really interesting. Let me know your thoughts on that. And then the final stand is dunking a cone of light into the Witness, pulling him out of the darkness. Once free of the darkness, he flees and is killed in the 8th story mission that will release after the day 1 raid is beaten. So looking at that, I find that all to be true, because I believe that all the leaks that we've seen in the last couple of months has said that we sort of pull the Witness of some of that like sort of darkness, power sort of away, so he's weak and vulnerable, and then we finally kill him in the final mission, which I think is going to be really cool. Now, here is the other thing. During the 8th story mission, the Witness is trying to reconnect with the darkness with the Veil, but the Veil ends up merging with the Traveler, destroying all sources of light and dark. Now, of course, this is interesting because I don't know really how this is going to work. Obviously, we had the Lightfall story, and with the Traveler sort of being put in a vulnerable state while we were dealing with Neomuna and all that, we didn't lose our light powers at all, and Bungie kind of, in terms of the storytelling at least, didn't really put a lot of stakes, because there we were still able to use the light and everything looked good. Like in the Red War, we literally lost the light for a good amount of time. So I hope if this is to be true in some sort of fashion, that our abilities are sort of like put in a stage where we don't know really what to do anymore. Maybe we can't use them, because I don't really understand what this means. Like, will the Traveler still exist? It's very unsure at the moment, and that's why some people are like, this is way too fake. But again, at the same time, like, if you saw Lightfall's leaks prior to its release, you would probably be like, what is this storytelling? What is this? So it's a very interesting point right there. Now, starting with no abilities, you have to damage the Witness to create pools of Arc, Solar Void, Strand, and Stasis. When you stand in the pool, it gives you the super of that element, preferring new supers in the case of Void, Solar, and Arc. At the end, the Witness will once again reach out to the darkness and generate a shield. Once the shield is destroyed, it will create a giant red pool. Standing in this gives your Guardian Temporal access to the new, I don't know how to pronounce it, ICHOR subclass. Use it to finish off the Witness, and it will be taken from you. This is interesting because obviously I know a lot of people are saying we might not get a subclass in the final shape, and I'm sort of leaning on that now, but I do think if this is to be true, that they're going to make a new subclass, and then sort of after the aftermath, after Witness is kind of destroyed, this subclass will kind of reach out to us in the next episodes, and it will be leaned in more. That would be really interesting, but there is nothing like in terms of announcements from Bungie, confirming this. Now, that kind of settles off everything from the raid and the A story mission, and I think it looks really cool from that, if it is to be true. But now let's get into what's going to happen in March. So, obviously, after the final shape is done, after we kill everything, get all the new exotics, get Dragon's Breath, living the dream, kill the Witness, just loving the new destination, the first out of the 3rd episodes will launch. And the Echo story will be the first to launch in March, so not too far off from the original release date of February 27th. Now, in the Echo story, we begin purging the Vex from the solar system. The dungeon takes place in the Vex network whilst mastering this new Red Darkness subclass. Running advanced Vex sims to simulate light and dark, in this case, darkness, to master this new subclass. This new subclass will lean in more of a healing aspect than any other class. Other sources of healing will also be heavily nerfed to make this new subclass feel well. Rip, Well, Lock, and Heal Nade. I don't have much to say about the new darkness subclass, but here's what I have. 3 grenades, 1 new class ability per character, bleeding plus draining debuff buff cycle. Now, apparently some of the super things we have is that hunters can turn into tornado with red knives or choose to throw it. So sort of mixing on what if you took solar, like Blade Barrage, and you took stasis, Revenant super, and just mix them together. Titan super slam the ground, creating an AoE health draining effect. Maybe that would be really cool. It would be like sort of a strike, or maybe enhanced differently. And then with the Warlock, it will be a roaming super using red veins as whips and tentacles to drain enemies. That is really cool. And the subclass names, quote-unquote, might be changed. We have the Rampager for the Titan, the Health Stomper, and the Immortal for Hunter. So Stomper for Warlock, and Hunter for Immortal. Now, apparently he says that's all I have now. This will be updated as I get more info. Looking at this, I think this looks really cool, even if it only has some things that are real and some things that are fake. Obviously, with leaks, a lot of things can be fake, but a lot of things can also be real. Looking at least the story aspect, I don't know about the red subclass in terms of the story aspect looks, I would find that believable by me, because I feel like it's just something that I feel like Bungie would do to really pull off to make this like the best boss fight we can ever have. And it would be really awesome at the very end of Final Shape that we actually get a tease of this darkness subclass that we can use without anything like coming from Bungie in terms of like in the API. I think they really want this, if they're going to do a new darkness subclass, really want it to be very secret, which would be really cool. But again, time will tell, obviously, what Bungie's going to do when if they want to release another darkness subclass. I was on edge again, and still, because we're getting all these new light subclasses, but at the same time they kind of look sort of not too crazy in terms of the other stuff we got. Like, of course, we got in Stasis and Strand, and those were really big stuff, because obviously new super, new dynamics, new buffs, new debuffs. But looking at Void Arc and Solar, like, I feel like a lot of it has already been built up, because we've been having these abilities for so long, and with the 3.0 changes, that it might not take as much time as maybe introducing a new subclass. Maybe the sandbox team will lean more to actually adding some little things to something entirely new that we're unaware of until the very end, and then build on this other subclass through the episode's launch. Because remember, guys, we have episodes till basically next February. From March, we have Echoes, then we have Revenant, and then we have Heresy. So we have a lot of episodes that will be really interesting to maybe lean into other story plots after the Final Shape concludes. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did, then please be sure to subscribe and like. I'd really appreciate it. Share with your friends. Tell me your thoughts on this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay? Love you guys.